Hello, people, and welcome back to the Just Joe Football Show. It has been a minute. I hope you're all doing great. I'm battered, I'm beaten, I'm bruised. My feet feel like they're going to fall off. But listen, more about that a little bit later on. We will be going live tonight at 8 o'clock. Myself, JT, Max, and Lewis. Just talking about everything going on at Leeds United right now, because there's loads that I've missed and loads to discuss. And we'll touch on little bits throughout this video. But of course, this is your breaking transfer news video, the latest updates on Leeds United. So before we get into it, please smash a like, subscribe, comment, and of course hit that notification bell. And you can tell me in the comments just how much you've missed me over these last few days, as I've been walking 92 miles for charity. The links are in the description. Please continue to donate. I think we're like over 70k now. Immense stuff, amazing stuff. Leeds United always take more. Right, but today's video is of course a transfer update. Now, we're going to be talking about Rasmus Kristensen, RB Salzburg right back. Leeds United are on the chase for a right back. Of course, there will be challenges to acquiring Rasmus Kristensen, if indeed we do want to put up the cash for him. Dortmund, Brentford, both interested in his signature. Of course, Brentford are. He's Danish. I mean, that's their thing, right? You know what I mean? They're like Wolves and Portugal, Brentford and Denmark. And of course, we know how much pull Dortmund have. So it's going to be a tough acquisition. But it's one Leeds United are very, very confident of being able to acquire at a price of just £10 million. Now, why a right back? That's the interesting thing. Well, we know, of course, that Luke Ayling is going to be out. He's had surgery. Dallas out. Cody Drama back. Listen, Cody Drama had a fantastic time on loan at Cardiff, and I can't wait to see him, pit his wits in this Leeds United side again. But come on, we have to remember just how poor his performance was against Martinelli in that Arsenal 4-1 loss at home. Now, of course, I know Martinelli's no mug. He made Luke Ayling do what he did and get himself a red card. But I think for me, it's exciting that we are starting to look at some of these players that we hold a high sentimental value for, and actually realizing as a club, as a structure, that we need to start to move on from that. And if that means that we acquire a new right back and we're going to see less of Ayling in Dallas, then so be it. And look, Rasmus Kristensen is a big-bodied, aggressive, but athletic defender and has a history with Jesse Marsch. Of course, the pair worked together for 2 years while Marsch was at Salzburg, much like, Aronson and other players that he's been linked with. Now, what's quite interesting about it is obviously Leeds United were linked with Calvin Ramsey recently, but we know that he's wanted by Liverpool. And I think there's goings on at Leeds United and little talks that maybe they believe that they're going to be second string for Calvin Ramsey and that he's going to opt for Anfield over Ellen Road. And you can sort of understand it, but on the flip side, you think, well, are you going to get game time under Trent Alexander-Arnold? Let's not forget Trent's 23 and has already completed football and won every trophy there is to win in club football. So you're definitely not going to be, surpassing him. And he's only 23. He's not the arse end of his career. But if Calvin Ramsey wants to go there, I 100% understand it. What I do find quite strange, and again, it's nice to always put a counter narrative to any positive news on this channel and to get us thinking and to get us talking in the comments, that Calvin Ramsey and Rasmus Kristensen don't have similar profiles. They're very, very different players. And I think as a football club, we do need to be careful that we don't fall into that sort of like Everton bracket of stockpiling players that suit certain managers, because then look what happens, right? Bielsa moved on. We spent big on Dan James, for example. I can sit here now and look back and reflect and take off my Bielsa rose-tinted glasses and say, okay, that desired effect didn't happen with Dan James, and actually 25 million was a bit of a waste of money. I'm sorry. So what we then don't want to do, because we've seen when Marsch came in, it was like, well, these are his players. So therefore, we need to give him time. And that's why he's unable to, play his system. And look, Leeds United are trying to rectify that by saying, let's go for players that Jesse's worked with before, i.e. Aronson, of course, Rasmus Kristensen. They've played in his style. They'll be suited to it. But then what if it doesn't go well for Marsch? Do we then find ourselves in a situation much like Everton, where you've got a stockpile of players, loads of different types of players that play with different systems, and then you bring in another manager who's like, well, I can't play with him, but I can play with him. We know Bielsa had width, Jesse, not so. We're now reverting the system. I understand it. But what I'd like is some continuity so that if a manager doesn't work out, then the next person could just pick it up and say, right, okay, that's fine. We move. Do you know what I mean? So we have to be wary of this sort of stuff. But look, if Jesse Marsch does work out, then of course Leeds United are giving him the tools that he needs to take this team to the next level, you know, to get them playing his style of football and hopefully climb up the table, because we don't want another season like last season. And I don't think we will have one. Whether or not Jesse sees it to the end, I don't know. I don't know. But fingers crossed he can, because I want it to go well. Now, I also understand that there's been talk of a potential experienced backup goalkeeper. We know that Leeds United have, young goalkeeping conglomerate, Christopher Claesen, who's flattered to deceive, really. And maybe the club are looking at that and thinking, right, okay, if something did happen to Ilian, then we're up creek without a paddle, you know. And I know that Leeds United looked to acquire Darren Randolph on loan back in January from West Ham. I know West Ham are going to sign Areola on a permanent. They also have Fabianski. Darren Randolph's a good goalkeeper. I know he spent time at Middlesbrough. He would be a good second choice goalkeeper and probably not cost too much. And I think it's something that Leeds United probably should do, as long as the money makes sense. Look, I know there's been some big keepers out there mentioned. You know, I even seen Fraser Forster by sections of the fan base, and that's fine, putting names out there, but that guy's not going to come and be a second understudy to Ilian Meslier. I even think Ben Foster, Sam Johnston, these other goalkeepers are probably first choice. Dan Randolph's already used to being a second choice, third choice in some cases. I think it would be, it would make business sense for Leeds United to make that happen. There's also been updates on the midfield hunt. A bit of positive news is, of course, that we hear that Barcelona are struggling with the funds for Rafinha. I still believe he leaves. Something will happen there. By hook or by crook, he will end up leaving Leeds United. Phillips, though, a little bit more positive. There is news that maybe he will look to sign a new contract. I know that he's just acquired a new home in Leeds. Whether or not he's looking to move on, and I don't know. Listen, I've heard bits, is what I'm saying. I've heard bits over the weekend that have made me quite confident that Calvin probably is going to stay in and around Leeds and probably wants to sign on with Leeds United. Maybe it'll just be another year. I'm not sure. But you never know, if Leeds United can continue to progress, maybe he will stay. Like I say, fingers crossed that does happen, because having him in the side just makes us 10 times better. Of course, we know that Leeds United, as brought to you by myself just 2 months ago, have made inquiries about Manchester United ace James Garner. He spent second half of the season on loan at newly Premier League side Nottingham Forest. Maybe Steve Cooper will look to make that permanent, but Leeds United are having little sniffs around him again. We know as well that Huddersfield failed to come up, and therefore Lewis O'Brien is someone Leeds United are looking at. Look, I'd have done individual videos on these, but what I didn't want to do is go back over, just throwing them in at the end here. But moving forward, obviously, as you know, I'll be on the channel so we can do some more in-depth stuff as news comes out. And of course, we know that Leeds United are, or were after, an unnamed Premier League striker. I believe now, as a lot of us suspected, that named Premier League striker was Eddie Nketiah. He's now come out and said, I'm staying at Arsenal. I believe a 5-year deal could be in the offing for him. And it has come out now in the wash that Leeds United were one of them clubs that were trying to pry Eddie Nketiah to their football club. So it looks like he's staying at Arsenal. So whether or not we'll have to shop further afield, but for me, that is the unnamed one. I'm seeing Shea Adams and seeing other names. I think that's a little bit of lazy journalism. I don't see Southampton selling him now. If they didn't sell him before, that's not going to happen. I think Eddie made sense. Victor, going back. Bielsa's not here. You'll be playing in a 2 alongside Bamford. We want you, etc., etc. And look, I understand why he'd stay at Arsenal if they're going to increase his money and give him a 5-year deal. Like, it makes perfect business sense for him and footballing sense for him as well, because they're going to be playing Europa League. It is what it is. But look, it's exciting for Leeds United. I think what's going to be key is we're going to have a bigger squad next season. Yeah, we're buying players that are more suited to Jesse's style. So hopefully, as people say, we'll see more of Jesse's Red Bull ball as opposed to what we've seen at the back end of the season. Points win prizes, needs, must, etc. But it's going to be a good summer. Of course, there may be some negatives in there if we lose certain personnel, but that's, you know, the nature of the beast. But I think in terms of acquisitions, Leeds aren't messing about this year. And that's good to see because, you know, if we get Rasmussen done and the club are confident of doing that, that's 10 million, that's 35 million spent before officially the Premier League window even opens in England. So it's good, it's positive. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Smash a like, subscribe, get your comments in, and join me tonight as well. Midweek Fix, it's Wednesday. I'll be chatting with the lads. So it'd be great to be catching up with them as well. So thank you as always for watching. I'll see you in a bit. Peace out. Peace.